Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. Reportedly, New York City will impose curfews on 4 migrant shelters starting Tuesday, January 16th of 2024. These are 4 respite centers, 2 in Queens, 1 in Harlem, and 1 in Brooklyn. Here are the rules of the curfew. Reportedly, migrants who are staying at these 4 respite centers will be required to check in every night by 11 p.m. and they have to remain at the center until 6 a.m. There are some exceptions, including school, legal and medical needs and issues. There's also an exception for emergency. The residents are being notified about the rules on Monday, that is today, and the curfew will go into effect tomorrow, that is Tuesday, January 16th of 2024. Now, naturally, a question that comes to mind is, why is this curfew being imposed? Well, let me tell you why New York City is imposing this curfew. It's because of complaints. The neighbors are complaining about the undocumented immigrants. There are reports of migrants engaging in panhandling. There are reports that the migrants are knocking on people's doors and asking for money. My friends, this is extremely disturbing. Migrants knocking on people's doors and asking for money. And many residents in the area, they are very nervous. They are not happy about what's going on. They don't want strangers knocking on their doors and asking for money. It creates a safety issue. If the migrants are knocking on people's doors and asking for money, that disrupts the lives of people in the community. People need peace. And the massive influx of migrants is adversely affecting peace in the community. And also, my friends, let me tell you, many American families are struggling because of inflation. They don't have extra money to hand out to the undocumented immigrants. In fact, many Americans, when they go out for grocery shopping, many of them have to take items out of their shopping carts and put those back on the shelves because they are exceeding their budgets. Prices have gone up. I have talked about inflation. I've talked about inflation on this podcast and how that's hurting Americans' budgets. People are finding it increasingly difficult to buy all the things that they need with the money that they have. And now the migrants are going around knocking on doors and asking for money. People don't have extra money to hand out to the migrants. So the city of New York, after getting complaints from residents in the areas, they decided to impose curfews to keep the migrants inside the respite centers between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. But is this going to solve all the problems? I don't think this is going to solve all the problems. This appears to be some kind of a temporary fix. The undocumented immigrants may still be out and about knocking on doors during the day or in the evening. Okay, what happens if a migrant violates the curfew? That's an obvious question. There's a curfew that's going to be imposed. What happens if somebody violates the curfew? Reportedly, anyone who is found violating the curfew 3 times within 30 days will be subject to expulsion from the respite centers. It seems to be a very lenient rule. 3 violations within a 30-day period will result in expulsion. Why 3 times? Why isn't the city saying that a single violation will result in expulsion? Why did the city create such a relaxed rule? So a migrant can violate the rules twice and still remain at the respite center. these rules seem very much relaxed, in my opinion. Let me tell you what I think. I think that the Eric Adams administration is failing to address the crisis. I think going forward, the situation in New York City will get worse. Many families are worried about the future of New York City, given the arrival of the undocumented immigrants, given the massive influx of undocumented immigrants. The fact that the city leaders decided to house migrants at James Madison High School a few days ago, while pushing students towards remote learning, that resulted in lots of complaints. Remember that incident? I think that was on January 10th when students were pushed towards remote learning because 1,900 migrants were being housed at James Madison High School in Brooklyn. That happened earlier this month. So the city leaders decided to use school space to house migrants, and they pushed students towards remote learning. And many parents were very upset when that happened. My friends, people just want a safe place to live and to raise a family. And New York City may no longer remain a family-friendly city if the migrant crisis continues. Crimes will likely increase. Drug crimes, property crimes, and other types of disturbances may become more frequent. And many families may think about moving to some other city or state for a better future. My friends, I think New York City is a beautiful place. And so it is very sad to see this city going downhill because of poor liberal policies. The liberal politicians are failing to govern the city. And that's why New Yorkers are suffering. New York is a city of immigrants, but legal immigrants. It's a city of legal immigrants, people who get visas, people who go through proper paperwork and enter the United States legally. New York City cannot handle the massive influx of undocumented immigrants. And as more undocumented immigrants keep coming, the city will likely see more chaos. So going back to the issue of the curfew at migrant respite centers, the curfews will start tomorrow, January 16th of 2024. Let's see what happens once the curfews go into effect. I will be paying attention, and as I get more updates, I'll be sharing the news, I'll be sharing my commentary, I will be sharing with you my thoughts and opinions. Thank you for continuing to listen to my podcast. Please stay connected with me. Don't forget to visit my website, tausifanam.net. Once you are on my website, you can check out my blog. You can check out my list of published opinions. You can also find more information about the poetry books that I published years ago. You'll find that information on my website. And you can also sign up for my e-newsletter. You can also email me at tausif@tausifanam.net. Let me repeat my email address again, tausif@tausifanam.net. Once again, my website is tausifanam.net. So thank you for staying connected. Please continue to listen to my podcast, and I'll be back again soon with a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.